As soon as the bad thing happens, be stress fit. Throughout your life, every day we all face little challenges. And most of us try to avoid the challenges. I'm saying no, embrace them. In nature, there is no room for redundancy. If you're not doing any work, you're out. So in the body, if you're not doing your job or not doing it efficiently, the body itself has a process by which it destroys the cell.
Welcome everyone to the Sensitive Power podcast. And today's guest is really special. And I am so privileged, not only that the guest is here, I've been waiting for this guest for so long, but also that I am sharing my name with her. Yes, her name is Prithika Chary, and she is Chennai's top neurosurgeon and neurologist. And to top it off, she is actually 77 years old but doesn't even look like it. She looks like 50 or even lesser. And I want to be like her. I am so inspired her since the moment I had seen her 2.5 years back. So I can go on and on about her, but I want you all to listen to her story in her own words. So let's hear it from her. Welcome, Prithika. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming here. And let's start. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. And you wanted me to introduce myself.
Yes, first. Yes,
I
please.
want to introduce myself with the slogan which I use as my driving force. I believe I'm a contributor, and I feel that a person or a place should be better because I pass through and I touch their lives. So this is my driving force in doing everything that I do. But academically, I qualified as a neurologist and neurosurgeon, in which I have more than 50 years of experience. And I'm the only lady in the whole country to have done both the specialties. Normally, you do either one because it's pretty tough to do both. I also subspecialize in something called epilepsy, which in Indian languages translates to Mirgi, Mutsajabu in Telugu, Valipanoi in Tamil, so that your listeners can understand. Because that is a disease where sensitivity comes into play. People marginalize them, stigmatize them just because they have epilepsy. They think that they are possessed by the devil and all kinds of misconceptions. And it usually affects young people and it marginalizes them. So my slogan for my epilepsy center, which I started in 1994, called Epicenter, is a full life with everyone, like everyone, in spite of epilepsy. Around 2019, I got exposed to this whole coaching business. Actually, I've been doing stress management offline programs for a long time, from 94, under a banner called Creative Karma, where I say karma is not written on your forehead. You can create your own destiny. You can create your own karma. So that was the reason why we gave that name. So I have done a lot of stress management workshops for IIM Indore, IIM Ahmedabad, for corporates, for various platforms, schools, colleges, all kinds of things. And I have addressed audiences ranging from group captains and air commodores to, managers of banks to students, medical students, non-medical students, the whole gamut. And throughout this whole thing, the theme has always been, you have your own power, accept responsibility for your life, understand that if you decide to do something, your life is limitless. And in the process of doing that, you don't have to push anybody else down. Instead, you can stand on their shoulders and grow. So this has been the concept with which we've done all of this. And when we do that, when our face is in the honeypot, many of us are still unhappy. We have everything we need. We have the honey in front of us. But we're looking around at all the bees which are buzzing around and saying, are they going to say something? Are they going to do something? Instead, we can be like the beehive, be collaborative, cooperative. You help each other, build up on each other, collective wisdom, collective benefits, collective goodness. All of that is possible. And our job is to help each other up. When someone is down, God has given us two hands. One is to do your own work. One is to help somebody else to up. So that's a kind of a very brief overall introduction. but I'm doing something else right now. So I started a coaching online business during COVID. It wasn't very easy because you're talking about 2020. In 2024, I'm 77 plus. So how old was I then? 73. And I am not exactly tech savvy, though I learned when I was 40 or 45. I learned how to do PPT and all because my profession requires those things. I learned Excel but couldn't manage it. So I'm very good with Word files, email. That's it. That was the level of my tech skills. Then I attended an offline coaching session called Digital Marketing in 2019. And one of the homework they gave us was that we had to create an Instagram account on the second day and record a brief video. That was homework. Till then, I had never heard of Instagram. I was not very much a presence on Facebook or anything. So I really didn't know what all this was. But because it was homework and because we were made to do it then and there, that was the first social media thing into which I got into. Then I'm basically a very creative person. So I got very excited. Oh, this is so beautiful. You can do this. And I'm not shy in front of the camera because I've been acting on stages, talking on stages throughout my life. So that was not an issue for me, which is the common issue for most people. So I started playing around with Instagram, started doing Insta lives. In the beginning, with my Insta lives, I would try to call somebody up or something and I'll switch off the whole thing. I had a lot of blunders, a lot of failures, but it was very exciting to keep learning something new. And its scope also was there. It was not for, publicizing to the world, I'm like this and that. It was just having fun. And that is why I always say, when you talk about sensitivity, the reason why sometimes we are not sensitive to issues around us is because we are enduring life. I'm coming from so much stress and tension and everything. So I take it out on you. So I always say, don't endure life. Enjoy your life. Even the hardships. You can find something good to have, enjoy or be grateful for. So now I found my niche after repeated filtering. In a Blair Singer workshop, I found my niche, which is resilience. How to bounce back no matter what life throws at you, and how to make adversity an advantage. So now I have narrowed it further and I'm working with midlifers and seniors because midlife is just like adolescence. It's a period of transition and it can be equally stormy because you start questioning whether your life has been a success or whether it is significant. So I tell them, you may be a successful person, money, everything, but inside you feel there's something more. That something more is significance of finding meaning, purpose, doing what you could not do when you were younger, leaving a legacy. So that is where I work now. That is the area so I do all this bringing in neuroscience because I'm a neurologist. And why am I uniquely qualified to do so? Because for 50 years, I've been doing this with over 10,000 patients. I've coached more than 300, 500 plus people. And what has happened is in neurology, there is a lot of disability. So coming back after that challenge of a health challenge of a stroke or a paralysis or whatever is not easy. And in retrospect, when I look at it, I've been helping all these people bounce back, come back and get maximum quality of life, come back and live their best lives. Because with all that, you can't stop living. You have to carry on. And that is being sensitive. We can't just say you're paralyzed, sit in a chair for the rest of your life, don't do anything with your life. But unfortunately, people are insensitive that way. So I have changed all that. So knowingly or unknowingly, I've been working on resilience throughout my career.
So when you say resilience, you are telling mostly about how to not have that stress, basically removing the stress from the people. Is that the main target that you are working on?
No. See, you give up hope. See, the typical response when something bad happens is shock. See, when I give a bad diagnosis, first shock, then you tell yourself denial. It's not happening to me. It can't be happening to me. They must be wrong. Then what happens? We get into a defensive reaction. Okay, let me see. I must do something. We get into a hurry and we make wrong decisions. We make wrong judgments. We may listen to everything everybody says. And then we realize that that's not the way to go. After that only comes the realization and acceptance. So only after you accept You start looking at your resources, marshalling your resources, where you can get help, how you can get help. You expose your vulnerability to others and say, I want help. And then you get help, and then you get guidance, and then you start taking the steps for transformation. So in my this thing, I'm telling them, don't wait, go through all these steps to get to that stage of okay, I have to take action. As soon as the bad thing happens, be stress fit. Throughout your life, every day we all face little challenges. And most of us try to avoid the challenges. I'm saying no, embrace them, overcome them every day. Build up your stress fit muscle. Because every little challenge you overcome gives you a sense of achievement, gives you a path on how to handle it for the future. So when something big happens, you can just quickly get to the fact that it's time I did something about it. Instead of wallowing in self-pity and, just listening to all the wrong advice. The costliest advice on earth is free advice. Because
Wow.
especially when it comes to health, someone or other will come and say, oh, why don't you try this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you? Oh, did they give you this? Who did that? All this goes on. All this drama goes on. And because you are vulnerable, you're not very strong in your inner world. You listen, and external validation becomes an issue. So I try to remove all those layers and say, just recognize yourself, get deep into your inner self, master your mind, become mentally tough, learn how to convert every adversity. There is a beautiful book called The Obstacle is the Way. Look at the obstacle, you try going around it, going above it, going below it. Sometimes you just have to go through it. So that is what I do in my resilience work.
They say the only way out is through, right?
Yeah, because sometimes that is the only way. See, if you go, I was diagnosed with a grade 3 cancer in 2016. So how can I deny myself that it is cancer? I have to go through it. There's pain, there's difficulty, but by God's grace, because I was practicing stress fitness throughout my life, I'm a single woman, I live alone, I could get through it. I didn't have much family support, but my friends, I opened up to my friends, and I'm still standing. So that is what I tell people. And this has nothing to do with age, nothing to do with education. It is only the way you think. So that is the work I do. And I firmly believe that age is just a number. When there is a passion driving you, when there is a desire to create impact driving you, nothing should stop you.
But I don't see that happening in many people who are above 70. Once they cross 60, they are like, okay, my life is done. Now I want to chill. I want to, do my own thing. But then when I see them, when I meet them in functions, like whether it is a wedding that I go to and I meet these old age people, the way they talk is like very very close minded, and they don't have any of these they don't want to make it big like how you are. Like the way you look at life is way way different from them. So can you share a little bit about how you feel about that? Of course you will also be having people around you who are your age, but then they are like acting not like you, like you are very different. So how, what is your take on that?
Yeah. See, there are two things in this. One is our own background, what was put into our brains from childhood, parents, teachers, experiences, learnings over our lifetime. All of these can create an influence. The second thing is society. What Vishen Lakiani of Mind Valley calls as the culture scape. So he says it's very important for us to escape the culture scape. There is a term called ageism, which is a kind of discriminatory term. Oh, you're 60 plus, so they won't be a good candidate for this. Or this, you're 60 plus. No, 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 just sit down, relax. You're retired. There's no need to do anything. Sometimes it comes from a place of love. Like you tell your parents, okay, all these years you worked so hard, you looked after me, and now, okay, just you chill. So I also begin to chill. I may have so many desires in my heart or unfulfilled dreams, but I begin to think, yeah, it's my time to chill. That's it. So other external influences also will mold the way you think. So for that, what I tell the midlifers actually is stop thinking of this, because when you're in midlife, what happens? You worry about, will I have enough money when I'm old? Will my health decline? Will I be relevant? Will anybody be willing to listen to me or even notice me? Because I don't have a job. I'm sitting at home. Am I useless? Am I going to be lonely? Will someone be there for me? How am I going to spend my time? So all this is actually going on in their head. And what is the easiest way out? Do nothing. And society also accepts, yes, yes, she's old. Nowadays she won't do anything. We won't trouble her. This is where it's coming from. And they think also, they don't understand this brain has got what is called as neuroplasticity till the day we die. So whatever things you externally change or do to it, it will respond with new connections, new learnings, new this. So we think I'm too old to learn. You can't teach an old horse new tricks. So that's another barrier. So they forget that they are created limitless. There's no stopping it just because you grew old.
Hmm. I was actually told that after 21 you won't be able to learn, you know. Like whatever learning you have to do it by 25. If you do masters, and once you do your masters, it's over. You can't learn after 25. This is what I was
True,
told.
the brain is very receptive to learning in the younger age. There's no doubt. In fact, there was an experiment done in a university where they gave a questionnaire to young graduates and they gave it to seniors. And then the results were very interesting. That they gave them, they said, they didn't say you have to finish in such and such a time or something. We just said, do it as fast as you can. The youngsters finished the papers very fast. But the papers of the seniors, they finished it a little slower, but was more accurate. There were more mistakes in the younger people's.
Oh, interesting.
So it's not that you can't learn new stuff or do new stuff. You do it at a different pace
Yeah.
and a different depth.
That is very interesting. I want to go deep into it. You said about neuroplasticity, and can you give a more elaborate understanding and how we can apply it in our life to be better?
See, neuroplasticity is a natural ability of the brain. When it is given the right stimulation, see, the brain, what happens in the brain, you've got three, four things happening. One is new nerve cell formation. Second is new connection formation. Then strengthening of connections which are used regularly. And destruction of connections which are not being used or which are not useful. So when you get new cell formation, when you get new connection formation, new and strengthening of connections due to some reason, that is called neuroplasticity. So the slogan for that is neurons that fire together, wire together. Then the neurons which are not functioning very well, they are damaged due to some reason. In nature, there is no room for redundancy. If you're not doing any work, you're out. Not like in a company or a factory where you can be a lazy fellow and you'll still be there. So in the body, if you're not doing your job or not doing it efficiently, the body itself has a process by which it destroys the cell. There is a big name for it, whether it's significant or not, apoptosis it's called. So there is no rubbish collecting in you. The body gets rid of it because it interferes with the efficiency of the whole system. It's marvelous, actually, if you look at it, think about it. So that is why we say use it or lose it. It's the second concept of neuroplasticity. So when we bring in external stimulation from the environment, the brain will respond. It will form new cells. It will form new connections. It will strengthen existing connections. And it will build the brain structurally and functionally. This is something which is remarkable. We thought it was happening only in young brains. But after technology has changed face of the way our knowledge of neuroscience, we know that it is there till the day we die. Only thing, as I said, the pace is different. So the way to boost your neuroplasticity, all your good health habits, which everybody knows and nobody does, is getting a good night's sleep, having healthy, nutritious diet, doing some physical activity, continuous learning, being active, being joyous, being grateful, having the right emotions. All these are good health habits. That's all, if you look at them. And every one of them can contribute to neuroplasticity. Now you may think, if I do physical exercise, how is my brain going to be helped? There is a substance called BDNF, brain derived neurotropic factor, whose levels go up when you're happy, whose levels go up when you exercise, whose levels go up when you help somebody. So the holistic understanding of neuroscience, in order to build your resilience or stress fitness, then you will understand that neuroplasticity is in your hands every single day for you to use.
So these are affecting the happy hormones as well, right? The
They
dopamine.
also influence the happy hormones. But the way to remember the neurotransmitters, they are not actually hormones, they are neurotransmitters in the brain, is to remember the word dose, DOSE. So you got dopamine, which is your reward chemical. Look at them as chemicals rather than hormones or neurotransmitters or something. So dose is your reward chemical. So every time you achieve something, every time you feel good about something, then you get a dopamine hit. But unfortunately, if you make scrolling social media a habit, which is not necessarily a good habit, you will get a dopamine hit. That is why when it's not there, you miss it. So you have to learn to replace what gives you the dopamine hit. See, exercise will also give you a dopamine hit. So you have to make the right choice of what gives you the dopamine hit. The second is your mood chemical, which is serotonin. And interestingly, your mood chemical is linked to your emotions, feelings, naturally. And 90% of the serotonin is produced in the gut, because we have three brains. We got the brain, we got the heart brain, and we got the gut brain. Now, each of these brains can function independently and interdependently. So, 90% of the body's serotonin is produced in the gut, which is why when you're in a bad mood or when you're frightened, you get butterflies in the tummy. When you're in a bad mood, your tummy may pain. You may go to the washroom frequently when you're nervous. So that this link is very real. And when your emotions are negative, there are bodily, it has been shown through thermograms that there are different parts of the body which light up or not when you experience different emotions. So every emotion in the brain has a physical representation somewhere. So that is why just having negative emotions can damage your physical health. Now, all of this is what I call as stress fitness. So if I'm already practiced in doing this every day, I've trained myself over several years from, and I believe you have to start when you're 25 for you to age well. See, everybody has bad days. Nobody is perfect. Nothing is permanent. And change is a reality. These four things none of us can escape from. So you will learn to adapt to change. You will learn to accept that impermanence, nothing is, this too shall pass. Then you learn that if you want things to change around you, you have to change yourself. So all of this is stress fitness, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I believe that it should be taught from school.
Mhm.
Instead of the value class they have once a week, somebody they'll call 1 half an hour, 1 hour. That's no use. Parents and teachers have to inculcate all these things on a daily basis.
Yeah. So you said there are four hormones. So you have covered dopamine and serotonin. So can you
Because
tell
they
me?
are related to stress. Then
Okay.
you've got oxytocin, which is actually a hormone produced from the pituitary gland. Now, the brain and the endocrine system connect with each other because there is a place called the hypothalamus in the brain, which is directly outspringing of that only is the pituitary gland. So, this is your neuroendocrine control center. And that pituitary gland controls all the hormones in the body, the thyroid, parathyroid, pancreas, the reproductive organs, the adrenal glands, everything. So, this is the link. Now, that is also your stress pathway. It's called the hypothalamo pituitary adrenal axis. Stress hormone is produced from the adrenal gland, a small gland sitting on top of the kidney. So, when stress hormones are produced, the cortisol level is very, very high in the body, and cortisol damages everything. Because cortisol is meant to be a rescue hormone. That is, I'm facing danger, there's a threat. So, my brain, an area in my brain called the amygdala says, hey, there's a threat coming. It's going to hurt you. So the job of the amygdala is to protect you, to keep you safe. So fight and flight kicks in. And that happens through cortisol. So cortisol will go to the muscles, make it ready to run. Go to the heart, make it beat faster. Go to some other, your breathing, make you breathe harder. So that you're all set and ready to run, flight or fight. For both, you need all that. But after the threat is gone, like maybe a tiger chasing a deer kind of threat, the deer has escaped, it's gone away to a safe place. It comes back to normal. Everything in the body's got a wonderful feedback loop. When the job is over, it will settle down. But when we are negative thinking or we are all the time, stressed and this thing, we keep our cortisol levels continuously high because we are looking at everything and everybody as a threat. See, the way the brain functions is it seeks pleasure or it avoids pain in very simplistic terms. So to avoid pain, you're constantly protecting, you think, and you're in overdrive on your cortisol. So your amygdala is also in overdrive. It will look at a rope and think it's a snake.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that is the kind of thing. So you need to learn to bring back that cortisol level to normal. Bad things happen, threats happen, life happens, stresses happen, challenges happen. You need to learn how to bring it back. And some of the ways to bring it back are living the kind of life I told you, being mindful, doing meditation, there are a lot of strategies. So this is the area where I work. And I've now created a new concept called lotus consciousness to embody this whole thing. And the core values are 4. I embrace, I transform, I rise, I radiate. So the metaphor is the lotus. The lotus seed is in the dirty mud, slush, filth. In fact, sometimes lotus grows best in filthy, slushy places. So when the seed breaks and puts out its roots, the roots don't stay easily. It's a struggle. So it has to keep on doing till the roots get anchored. Then the stem starts growing. And that also it has to go through the resistance of the water and come out. And then it breaks the surface. And once it rises above the surface, it blooms. So I'm saying embrace. Trying to putting your roots into the mud. That is the embrace. Then I ground myself. I transform. And I'm able to get going. Then I rise. I break open above the water. And then I radiate. I live an inspired life, inspiring myself and others.
So beautiful.
So I called it Lotus Consciousness. I've written a book which I'm launching on the 18th.
Oh. Yeah. So nice. 18th of this month?
Yes. And Suren of Success Gyan is the chief guest who's releasing the book.
Wow. Awesome.
So what I'm trying to say is, now when I give them a metaphor, it's easier for them to relate. So we are doing the same thing, the resilience work. But now we have narrowed it down more and more and more and more and brought it to this very micro area.
Very true. Very beautiful metaphor, and the way you have explained it, I feel is something else, because many people have told this, many coaches have explained, but the way you have explained Lotus is like on another level. So I'm also waiting for this book to come. So you mentioned that we are having the cortisol, we are having the stress hormones before anything happens, or we anticipate things that happen. So is that anywhere connected to watching horror movies, sad songs, listening to sad songs, or does that really connect to this?
See, your brain has got the conscious and the subconscious mind. Now, the conscious mind is only about 10 or 15%, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. The subconscious mind is the rest of your mind. And what is in your subconscious mind? All your past memories, your experiences, what has shaped you into who you are now. Money is bad. Rich people have made money the wrong way. Might have been put in your head as a child. No. In general, everybody is good. Trust that everybody is good. That might have been put into your head. So all of this is there in that subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind doesn't know what is right, wrong, good, bad. It just has the stuff in it. What gives it the interpretation is the conscious mind. So if you lead a life of self-awareness, sensitivity, you're calling it sensitivity. That's what it is. It is self-awareness. Being sensitive to everything, being sensitive to the creation, sensitive to the fact that there are other people in the world besides you, being sensitive to the way you manage your emotions, being sensitive to everything around you. When you lead a life of self awareness, you will also make sure that what you put into you is something that will support you. Now, when I watch a horror movie, I'm intentionally taking in some negative stuff. Worse than horror movie is watching the daily news because unfortunately today the news runs on the concept that only negativity sells, panic sells, bad things when I describe wars and this and that sells. People want that drama. So I had my own solution to that. I need to know the news a little bit. I need to be self-aware, aware of what's happening in the world also. But of course, I don't have to be too aware in detail of all the politics and the quarrels unless I'm a politician myself. So what I do and what I suggest, many seniors will be struck on the newspaper. So actually they're dumping negative stuff into their heads every day, first thing in the morning with a cup of coffee. So start reading the newspaper from the center page, where you'll find that the boring news is. There'll be a book review, there'll be some little spiritual thing. All that only is in the weather, some small article somebody wrote. So that by the time you come to the first page, you're tired. You only just glance at the headlines and out, just to know. So what you put, like a computer, rubbish in is rubbish out. So if you keep on feeding yourself, and understand also, you said feeling sad, listening to sad songs. What is your mood? What is your serotonin level? When you listen to a sad song, it will dip. So what are you doing to your brain? You're depriving it of its happy mood chemical. So yes, that can influence. Now, another habit which I teach all my community is throughout the day, what do? I go to work, I'm very happy when I go and everything. And then on the way, my watchman has a conversation with me by the time I go from my apartment to the car, and it irritates me. So what happens to the rest of my day if I carry that irritation with me? I'll have a horrible day. But if I choose to ignore that and say from morning I was happy, I meditated, I did exercise, I had a good breakfast, I'm wearing a nice dress, whatever, and I go in that mood, what will happen to your day? You will have a good day because you're looking at it from your lens. It's
Why?
your perception.
Yeah, but then why are so many people addicted to sad songs and they love to watch horror movies? Why do
So
people
there
do
are
that?
people who like to hurt themselves. It's a kind of, sadistic behavior.
Okay.
And they don't realize the negative impact it's having on your psychology, your physiology, and your well-being. I say if you like seeing a horror movie and you just like getting scared and all that, do it with some friends, laugh. When somebody does that, make a joke of it. Convert it into a jolly thing, not like that.
Okay.
And then not sleeping at night because those things are coming in your head. But don't be addicted to it. You have to, that may be an occasional thing. It's like suddenly I like a lot of salt in my food and my food has got average salt. One day I take something which is very salty, maybe a pickle or something. That's okay. But you'll use it like a pickle only, not like the main meal.
What an analogy. But this scrolling, like what it exactly does to your brain.
No, dopamine levels go up because you enjoy it.
Hmm.
Okay. But dopamine is the same neurotransmitter which is involved in alcohol addiction, drug addiction.
Hmm.
So when you're getting this, you have to get into what is called as a dopamine detox. A digital detox will be a dopamine detox. And the reason why this is happening, especially to youngsters, the parents are to blame. Because 1-year-old child is crying, give the phone. Child doesn't even know how to open and look at something. You put one cartoon there and give it to them, iPad. Or you plug it in and make them listen to music, which is one step better. So what happens every time the child wants its way, it will make a drama for the phone. As it grows older, it learns because the current children, all of you, for instance, are what are called the tech kids. You're all born into technology. See, I have gone through I'm very grateful I'm seeing that I'm able to be part of the whole transition. But in my days, we had this dabba phone, the black big thing. That was the phone. There was only radio, no TV when I was growing up. And even listening to the radio, after 9 p.m. was permitted by my parents on Saturday night because there used to be one listener's choice, which will come from Radio Ceylon. I don't know how many seniors who are listening will relate to that. And we had that Amin Sayani who used to be a radio jockey who would play nice Hindi songs. So it was a special treat to sit up, stay up on Saturday nights to listen to that. So nothing is happening now. It's always available, all the time there, everywhere.
Yeah.
See, something is more valued when you give it in small doses and you restrict its usage. Supposing I eat, instead of dinner, I eat only ice cream. I may love ice cream, but I'm not going to enjoy it. When I have something to eat nicely and I eat an ice cream of my choice, I'll enjoy it. But this is how the social media is being abused. And the sad thing is, 5 children, 15 to 18, will be sitting around a table, not talking to each other. We see this all the time in the coffee shops and the restaurants. They're all with their phone. So they have forgotten how to interact with each other. And especially in adolescence, if you encourage this antisocial behavior where you're not socializing in person with other people, it can become a very deep-rooted habit. So they forget how to talk to people. So there are children whose parents are complaining. When we go to a function or something, my son goes and sits in the corner with the phone. He doesn't mix with anybody. He doesn't know how. He's scared. Here he's incognito. Nobody knows me. I can say what I want, do what I want, pretend to be who I want. See, remember that technology is a tool. Nothing is wrong with technology. See, we are using technology in this section. It is how you use it. It's like a knife. With a knife, I can cut vegetables. I can kill somebody. So nothing's wrong with technology. And like anything else, you have to learn to use it wisely. So there I feel the parents and teachers have a very, very clear, important role. They have to first change their attitude to technology because they're also doing it. They're not role models. So 2 hours before bedtime, no technology. If you want, you can watch TV. No TVs in the bedroom because that's a place of rest. You must create for sleep hygiene we teach. Sleep hygiene is creating the room where you sleep into the ideal room where it's conducive to sleep, which means a dark room, a cool room, temperature ranging from 22 to 24 or 26, silence, no stimulating things, soothing music maybe. So this is all sleep hygiene. So if you don't do all this and then you say, I can't sleep. So insomnia is prevalent everywhere now. Because till my eyes go like that, I have to see the social media. I'm sleeping with my phone in my hand or beside me. There's a blue light which damages your brain.
Yeah, people are still doing it, and somewhere even they are also so stressed, the parents. So, now talking about the parents, especially who are 30s and 40s, most of them are working in IT. Companies are trying to get as much work done as possible. And now it is coming in the news that certain CEOs are telling that you have to work 70 hours a week, 90 hours a week. Sundays also you need to work. And we have at the other end of that spectrum, we have also seen there is news where this lady who worked for 4 months rigorously in the beginning of her career and she lost her life, right? Last year it happened. So that happened in again a big company where the pressure was too high. She did not have any sleep and she was working all the time without any holidays, and she lost her life at a very young age. So this is already happening and people are not seeing it, and the hustle culture is still going on. People are still taking pride in saying that I'm a very busy person, I don't have time. They're still taking pride, while making time is something I feel is supposed to be something we need to take pride in. Like, yes, finally I'm making time for my family, I'm getting this time for my family and for myself. But people are taking pride in the opposite, that I don't have time even for my family or anything else. So what is your take on it?
Today, busyness is a prestige badge. So we have to learn to move from doing to being to becoming. So all of us are in the hustle culture, doing all the time. Now, take your cue from the human body. I'm a doctor and I'm seeing, I don't want you to abuse this priceless structure. Okay. So take your cue from the human body. The human body to function perfectly I told you this cortisol thing, it is meant to protect you. It's a flight and fight reaction. What is happening? Once the threat is removed, it returns to normal. That is its natural way. What are you doing when you're hustling? You're not allowing it to go to normal. You're keeping it in a hyper, what we call as a hyperadrenergic state. So you're interfering with this wonderful machine's way of looking after itself. Now stop for a moment and hold your breath for a little while. What will happen? After a while, you have to breathe. Without breath, there is no life. And you started breathing the minute you were born. And you breathe till the day you die. So, what does your breathing involve? Inhalation, exhalation. So, something goes in, something comes out. So, the body needs to cleanse itself periodically. What the food you eat comes out after digestion. The water you drink comes out after processing. So everything in nature and life is a cycle. So when you look at a cycle, your energy expenditure has to have a rest. So what is the natural cycle? The circadian rhythm, where with the sun, with the light getting dark and light, our body automatically puts you to sleep because there's a hormone called melatonin which is produced. Once darkness comes, it forces you to lie down because the body needs time to rejuvenate. It needs to do restorative functions. That's what happens in sleep. So when that is the natural cycle, if you think you can go on without rest, it is a stupid thing that you do. And even in our day, we have another rhythm called the ultradian rhythm. Now this ultradian rhythm, how it works is, just think about your day. You start your day off fairly energetically. That energy will last for about 90 minutes. Then there's a dip. So around 11ish, all of us dip for about half an hour, 1 hour. Then again, you will find that you're energetic again. Then after a 90 minutes, you'll get a dip. This is happening naturally, whether you like it or not. It's not in your control. So what do? The wise people among us learn to relax a little and then dip and do as much as we can in the productive period. So when the nature has given you all these rhythms, when you live in sync with the rhythms, you have a wonderful life, extremely good health, and your overall well-being is perfect. So this work culture, which has been created especially by the IT industry, revolves around money making. Like I remember many, many years ago, I was in a meeting in Madras Management Association. And then itself, it was a 50-hour week or something. And I was asked to talk on stress management in that meeting. So I said, what you guys are doing is not okay. You have unrealistic deadlines. You have no work periods. No, you say 9 to 5, but there is no end on that. That 5 is never at 5. It can go even up to 9, 10, whatever. Because you want to complete an unrealistic deadline. And as a joke, I said, for some bloody person in the United States to make money, our youngsters are staying awake all night and ruining their health. And that gentleman got very angry with me. And he said, even you doctors do night duty and all that. So you are earning your money through that because you're doing night duty and all. Then I had to point out to him, but our night duties are not continuous, where your BPOs and all are continuous. For months on end, their nights are gone. And why are you doing it? Because you want to service somebody whose time zone is different. When he sort of made me a little angry. So I said, for some bloody American to make money and for you to make money, you're killing our youngsters. Because we are seeing heart attacks at 30, 40. And I encourage every IT professional who comes to me, because many of them come to me saying, my memory is not okay. I don't know, everything is all right, but I'm not all right. They're not even sure what is wrong with them. So I advise all of them that you have to call the shots of it. Join a job which pays you a little less, never mind. Like a couple who I met in Delhi in a meeting, the boy was saying, my wife and I are in IT, we have such erratic timings, so we leave my child who's 4 years old with my parents. And then he started laughing and he said, my son is beginning to call my father daddy because his father figure is your father, not you. You're never there. Is this what you want from life? What is the use of having tons and tons of money? And when I asked him, why do you have to work like this? He said, I want to put my child in a public school. I want him to go be educated at Harvard, all this. But then your child even doesn't remember you're the father.
Very true.
So we've got all our priorities screwed. So that is why I keep screaming from the rooftops like this. Be sensitive to what is important and valuable in your life. And one of the ways to sharply bring that into focus, what do you want to tell people to talk about you when you die? How, how do you want them to talk about you when you die? Oh, this fellow, this millionaire died. See, how are people talking about Ratan Tata? Nobody's talking about his millions. They're talking about his humanity. How are people talking about Abdul Kalam? He would have had lots of money. He would have, when he's been in good jobs and things like that. Nobody's talking about the money. So you have to aim for people to talk about you that way.
Very true.
And if that is very significant. Success is okay, but your success should be tied to significance, both your own personal significance. What will people think of me when I die? What is the impact I'm making on people around me? What is the legacy I'm going to leave behind? That is what makes me do what I'm doing.
So beautiful.
And I don't see why every senior citizen, they all have rich histories in their own areas of life, whether they do a job or whether they do what, they can be like that. They can be inspirational to the family. They can. And the other bad habit which has come is senior citizens are being abused in another way by youngsters by being converting them into ayas and babysitters. So that there are grandparents who have told me, normally grandparents love being with the grandchild. But when they are made to go this shuttle to America back and forth and all that, they'll be there when the baby is born, take care of the baby till it is 6 months old, 8 months old, then come back after 2 years when the baby is going to school or whatever. They start hating the job. I'm sure senior citizens who listen to this will say, yes, that's how I feel. Because when they go to the US, here they'll walk out of the house, talk to the neighbor, go to the temple, whatever. There they can't do anything. They just have to sit in the house. And the children think they're doing it out of love. The parents think they're doing it out of love and they hate each other. So unnecessarily in a place of love, there's a lot of stress and everything gets distorted.
So, what do you think senior citizens should be doing so that they can live a much
First,
meaningful
connect with
life?
themselves. Understand that they are worth it. They are enough. They are still standing. They've overcome so much in their life and they're still standing. First, get that confidence. I matter. Because they've reached a stage where they think they no longer matter. They're just waiting to die, kind of thing. And God has not given us a life for us after a certain stage to sit and wait to die. He's given us life to live. So live your life. Okay, if you're contributing by helping people, all that is fine. Do volunteer work. Share your wisdom in some whatever way with your family, with whoever. Take up a hobby. You may have wanted to learn music as a younger person, which you never found time for. Learn music now. You're not going to sing on the stage. It's okay. But you'll feel that satisfaction. You won't die with the regret. Oh, I always wanted to learn music, but I never learned it. Some desires maybe you can't bring. I always wanted to learn tennis at 77. I can't go and learn tennis unless I'm very, very fit. So be realistic also. But make your life, meet with friends, meet with people, be part of a club, be part of an association, contribute, join the Rotary Club, join a local club, whatever. You have to connect with people. Don't isolate and alienate yourself because you're important, because you'll become irrelevant. And then you regret feeling lonely. See, I'm never lonely. I enjoy my alone time. I live alone. I've been living alone for the past 30 years or more. My mom died in 2014. But I'm a happy person. I enjoy my alone time. Sometimes, yes, I wish I had somebody to go out with or talk to or something. If you have enough friends, even that can be bridged. That's why social connection is extremely important in old age. They've described what are called as the blue zones of the world, where the average longevity is above 100 for everybody, for a lot of the community. And when they explored what are the habits that the blue zone people had, which gave them the graceful aging, and they were very few of them were sick or anything, but many of them were 100 and all that. One of the very important things was social connection. They would all meet, talk, dance, eat together, all kinds of things. Second was physical activity. They would work in the farms. They would do this thing. They live in mountainous areas. They climb this thing. That third thing was eating largely plant-based diet and eating restricted calories. So just 1,000 calorie diet. Another thing is, in some of those communities, they used to take wine, red wine, but they avoid alcohol. And they also don't have any negative thoughts. All of them say that they accept life as it is, people as they are, themselves as they are, and they just enjoy their lives in that from that point of from that place. So why can't all of us do the same?
That is true. But then, when it comes to social interaction, right now the quality of social interaction has also become a little bit less quality in a way.
So you must have friends from the time you're young.
Yes,
You
but
grow old together, actually.
Mhm.
See, I recently lost my schoolmate, which means from second class, then you can imagine. So they're the same age. Okay. And we've had a WhatsApp group which has been very alive for nearly 25 years. Every day we message each other. It's every day as if we talked yesterday. And when we meet, when we can, it's as if we've been talking to each other every day. So you must create connections and technology. That is where you can use technology to your benefit. Use technology to talk to people. Go on video and talk to them like we are talking now. Use technology for all this because it has opened up on the phone, you can now do a video call.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, so enjoy technology and maintain your social interaction. And let me remind seniors, you can go back to the old fashioned habit of writing a letter.
Wow.
You tell me, all of us love to receive a hard copy letter, don't we?
Yeah.
Written by hand by the person who sent it. So go back to writing letters to each other. Make a phone call. And social connection is also not necessarily with people you know, it can be with strangers also. So I always say, look out for opportunities to do random acts of kindness.
Mhm. It's easy to find like-minded people when you're
Yeah,
going.
when you're in that frame of mind, wherever you go, you'll attract those kind of people.
Mhm.
Whether you're sitting in the airport or in a train you're traveling, somehow or other you'll make good connections. If we keep complaining quality is not good, that has to be perfect. Perfection is a myth. Nothing is perfect. Nobody is perfect.
Why is it that everywhere, most of the people, we see them as, they are always looking at your milestones. Like 25, you get married, and then you have a baby by 30, and then, the milestones are imposed on that baby also. And then, you have to have one more baby because how can one baby, like get a job by this age? So increasingly, people are. Running behind these milestones and fixating on that. So, what is your take on that?
That is the culture scheme.
Yes.
So, what Vision Lekani says is fantastic. All of us have our comfort zone. And this comfort zone is restricting and holding us there because of the culture scheme. So, he says, within that culture scheme, you have to create your own culture scheme. What works for you, what doesn't work for you, out of what is there. And when you don't conform to the culture scheme, what will happen is you will lose relationships because if you change, they have to change. And nobody wants to take the trouble. So they'll say, why did you do this? Why are you doing this? You're going to fail. You're going to this. So you have to shed external validation. See, I'll tell you one of the things in my career. I've been a woman in a man's world. And mind you, in the 80s, 90s, and all, how bad the woman in a man's world concept would have been. But I was very, very clear on where I was going. From the age of 2, I wanted to be a doctor. And when I did my medical college, everything, I said I'll be an ethical, professional, excellent doctor. That was all I had in my mind. And through this, I will serve as many people as possible. And God will bless me with the ability to heal. So what happened on the way? Lot of people, I'll rise 1 inch, they'll push me down 1 foot. So I had no people to lift me, pull me, say good things about me, that kind of thing. I didn't have a coterie of admire. I had a lot of admirers, but they never were part of my helping me to grow. So I made up my mind very early. My goal is going from A to B. So when I leave my house and want to go to work, what do I do every day? I take the road that I normally do and go to work. But today, metro is being built in Chennai, and so the road diversion is there. Do I go back home? I take the diversion. As I'm going in the diversion, suddenly one two-wheeler comes in front and falls in front of my car. Then, fortunately, nothing bad happens. But so what do I say? Do I go back home? I keep going. Then further down, something else stops me. Some VIP is going, so the whole traffic is stopped. So life is exactly the same. I ultimately get to point B, which is where I work. I want to go there, I'm going there. So if you have clarity of your goal and you're single-mindedly laser focused on the goal. So I said, I'm going. You want to join me? You put a barrier in my path, I'll cross it and go. You want to come with me? Come with me. I'll take you along. I'll help you. You help me. You don't want to come with me? That's perfectly okay. So with those people who don't want to come with me, I have what I call as a parallel line relationship. These are all my own concepts. I don't fight with them. You never supported me, so I won't even look at you. No. Because in work colleagues, if you do that, you're going to have a lot of friction. So the parallel line relationship is we are crossing in the hospital corridor. Hi, how are you doing? So I'm not expressing any dislike, hate, nothing. But I will not be very close to them. You go your way, I go my way. We'll be civil to each other like strangers. So these are all things which have seen me through. And if I'm a success in my career without any boosting and Godfather and all that, it's because of this attitude. Yes, you will come across some people say she's arrogant, some people say she's selfish. It's okay because you are clear what you want to do in your life. So anybody's life, if they want to change, they first have to have total clarity on what it is they want. Why do I wake up in the morning? If you have that clear, everything else will fall into place.
What if people don't have that clarity? There are many who don't have it, and
We are there to teach them, send them to my classes.
definitely. I know so many people who are
No,
like
there are a lot
taking
of
through that.
people, lot of wisdom, and that's where technology is so good. There's lots of wisdom available in the internet. You have to want to change yourself because I may be the best coach in the world. I cannot change you if you are not willing to change. So the starting point is being more self-aware, realizing I matter, realizing I'm limitless, realizing that rest of my life is meant to live, not wait to die, and then say, I can do it. And instead of saying, I can't, I'm interested in what I'm becoming. That's where the lotus analogy helps.
I love your analogies, especially the parallel lines. It cracked me up because we are going in a straight line, but we never meet parallel lines. It's so beautiful. So I'm going to use that for so many people in my life. So thank you for that analogy. Now coming back to the first point that you had put, that midlife people, people who have midlife crisis or at least who are above 40s, you said that it's another adolescence where people
Yeah.
are questioning everything. So I think I am also going through that. When I met you, I was just 12 years into IT. I was working till 3 a.m. once in a while, and I was in that situation when I met you. And at the end of the course, I also knew what I wanted to do as a coach. I got the clarity and I transitioned my whole career. But I understand many people are going through this exact same thing. My colleagues at that time, right, they are now asking me, tell me what should I do to change my life? And I ask them, what do you want to do? Tell me who do you want to help? And they don't have an answer. But they want to help, but they don't know what to do. So they are in that place, and that is now feeling like a big connection to how you said it's a new adolescence, and the second adolescence in a way. So now I think that's a different approach to help those people. So can you give me some insights on how to help them in this scenario?
See, each one's health condition, wealth condition, relationship condition, career status will be different. So, first of all, they have to understand that if they want to improve their life, there is no point in focusing too much on only one area. You need to have a balance. So, most of us are focused only on career wealth. So, the others fall away. So, ask them to take the life wheel. There's a life wheel, it's there on the internet. It divides your life into all the areas of your life. See where you are. Now, supposing your career and wealth, you're 8 by 10. Relationship, you're 1 by 10. And your own personal growth, you're 0 by 10. You start balancing that wheel. Do whatever it takes to balance. That is very individual. And or they have to be with a one-to-one coach or something, and who will have to take them step by step to that. So start balancing the life wheel first, because that itself will give you a sense of peace. Because if you're working a 70-hour week and never seeing your family, if your child is calling the grandfather, daddy, all of these issues will go off, and you're not seeing your friends. See, I went through this. I was working at Apollo Hospital, and I was at the peak of my career, in my 35, 36 kind of age. Then over a few years, I was thinking, no, why is it nobody calls me? My friends, they used to talk to me, and they don't, nobody's calling me. I meant the non-medical circle. Then when I sat down and reflected on it, I realized I'm never there. And when they do talk to me, I talk to them in a hurry because I'm in the hospital or I'm doing something or I'm driving or something. So over time, that rumor became there in my non-medical friends. She's very busy, let's not disturb her. So don't wear busyness like a prestige badge. Stop that. So show people around that you're approachable, you're available. Otherwise, nobody is going to invite you for any function, not their child's birthday, not their daughter's marriage, nothing. And then you will feel hurt. Why did they leave me out? You left yourself out. They didn't leave you out. So these are all things when you're in your 40s, 50s, you have to think about. The other thing is when you're 40s, 50s, the retirement. So start doing a retirement planning when you're 30, not just for finance, which many of you now have learned how to do. But financial, that also some people are not doing. Emergency fund and retirement planning are a must, because without money, you cannot do anything, especially your health. Coming from a doctor, I'm telling you, because healthcare has become very expensive. So emergency fund, retirement planning, you do money-wise. Health-wise, see, the exercise you do, the muscle you build. See, from 10th standard, I'm an exerciser. So if at 77, I'm independent for all my activities of daily living, in spite of having been through a grade 3 cancer, chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, all kinds of terrible stuff. It's because of what I did when I was 30. That is stress fitness. So focus on your physical well-being and self-care, which at that stage nobody is doing. Not enough are doing. Take care of your self-care, look after your health, prepare for your wealth, then also your relationships. Then focus on the career. Then you regulate the career to make all this happen. What you're doing is ulta now. So, and like I told that couple who said, my son is calling daddy. I said, are you both making enough money? Now, supposing one person didn't go to work, will you still be making enough money to fulfill your dreams? They said, we will, but it will take a little longer. Then I said, why don't one of you get into a job where you have to devote less time to the job and have more time to spend at home with the kid? That's okay. You'll get little less income from one person. The other income will be there. And you can fulfill this spending time with the kid goal also. For which that boy said, yeah, okay, I think I should tell my wife to change her job. So I said, no, your wife can change her job for a while. You can change your job for a while. Mm-hmm. What is she doing which you are not doing? She's doing the same job. She's earning the same income. She's driving the car. She's doing whatever you are doing, everything you're doing. Plus, she's looking after the home and the children. So why is it always the woman who has to sacrifice her dreams? So the men in that age group also have to learn to think. But things are better now. Many of them are, helping in the house, doing all that. That mindset has definitely improved. Some men want to be house husbands. Oh. Rather than face the boss in the office. They are happy to sit at home and face the children and the milk vendor and the whatever. Yeah. So what you need to do again in midlife, like I said with the seniors, is understand who you are, have clarity, what you want to become. So visualize yourself 10 years down the line. How do you want to be?
Then act accordingly instead of just
to that. Yeah, act according to that.
I feel most of them are on a hamster wheel. Just don't know.
And many people, unfortunately, still don't know their purpose in life.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
So they have to do some deep reflection, deep thinking, and maybe listen to somebody who is giving good advice. They can choose whoever they resonate with on the internet. There are so many, or join any of us who are doing this kind of work and get clarity first.
Yeah, very
You
true.
have to live a conscious life,
Mm.
a self-aware life, so that that subconscious is not controlling you.
Mm. But now that midlife, at least there is some clarity on where they can go ahead. But the people who are above 60 and above 70, there is this one thing that I'm seeing with everybody common, very common thing that is happening is they're still conforming to the societal standard, the culture scape and everything. But they are also forcing their, the younger people in their family to also conform to it, and they are so fixated on it. We had the baby in the first year of marriage only, and that is the right way, and you also have to do it the right way. That is the only right way. They have so many such conformities, and for them, it's very difficult for me even to start thinking on how to help them. Can you give me some advice on that?
See, when you become a senior, many people develop very rigid minds.
Mm.
Okay, they're not flexible. And there again, it's their culture scape. That's what they've been accustomed to. But many youngsters have been breaking that culture scape in many ways. Because from a very conservative family, a Brahmin girl will go marry a Muslim, or things like that are happening. Of course, these people are unhappy, they get upset, they reject, all that is there, but ultimately they adapt. The fact remains that the senior person has to remember that life has changed and it is not their job to fix others. It is their job just to fix themselves, to accept whatever is as is and make the best of it for the few years they've got left to live. But this is not easy to get this mindset. But it also keeps them in the comfort zone. That is why. So I'm saying don't get out of your comfort zone. Expand your comfort zone to a little wider way of thinking. Now, when they pressure the children to have children, a child in the first year and all that, what they have to also understand is there are many people who are not marrying, who are choosing not to have children also. And sometimes that decision is made on health reasons. They're too old to have a baby safely. So sometimes when these things are brought out and told to them, okay, I missed the bus, but that's okay. Ideally, in fact, for instance, when I never married and I this thing, a lot of people told me, you're so bright, you're so good looking, you're this, you're that, your genes must be passed on. This was one way they used to talk to me. So there were two or three things that happened in my life which created a situation where marriage didn't happen to me. They said some astrology, some horoscope, something was their husband will die, all kinds of stuff. So I said, listen, I don't want somebody dying and that death being on my soul because that fellow married me. I'm studying, I'm doing well, let me go on. If some romantic link up happens, let it happen when it happens. My dad also was very broad minded. He said, fine. But you were talking about the rigid mindset and this thing. At 73, he had a heart attack and he was very breathless. And as he's dying, all he was saying was, I'm so sorry I'm leaving you alone. I'm so sorry I'm leaving you alone without a spouse. You see, that was in his mind all the time. That, unlike my two sisters, I never got married. But if you look at the three sisters, I'm the most successful one, the happiest one.
And there are so many married people who are more lonely.
Exactly the point. So I always tell my patients because I see epilepsy a lot and sometimes they don't get married. They don't get matches. So I tell them it is better to be unhappily unmarried than to be unhappily married. Because when you're unhappily unmarried, you can change it if you want. If you're unhappily married, it involves so many other people and you may be powerless to change. So don't make this marriage, childbirth, everything this sanctimonious thing. Marriage happens to some people, it doesn't happen to some people. Children are born to some people, children are not born to. And if you look at the larger picture of the universe, as a senior, you should be able to appreciate that. Nothing in the world happens randomly. Everything happens for a reason. See, maybe if I had got married and had a family, I could not have contributed so much to so many and helped so many other families. See, epilepsy, I have just completely transformed the lives of thousands of families, given them a life where they thought they had no life. Marriage, childbirth, everything, education. So if I was tied up in my own family affairs, so God decided that I can serve him best in this role. So accept your role in society. Don't give it to all these your own connotations.
I think acceptance is where they are
Yeah,
lacking.
exactly. You
Mm.
have to learn acceptance in life. And if you don't learn it when you're 70, you're never going to learn.
Very true. Lovely answers on the 60 plus as well as the midlife. So I'm now coming back to the children, the very young and until the teenage. Why do you think there are so many mental health issues rising in such young age? What's happening?
First, the parents, the young adults who are looking after the children, teachers, parents, they are responsible. So actually, my niche group, which I wanted to handle, was not the midlifers. I wanted to handle the 20 to 40, which is when you change. If you make the changes, all the rest of it is fine. But then they told me I'm having too many broad niches and all that. So 45 to 65 is midlife. We moved into that niche. But actually, all the good habits have to start when you're 20. For that, our school education system is broken. It is very left brain oriented teaching. They teach you academic facts which you may never use for the rest of your life. No life skills are taught. No financial skills are taught. No survival skills are taught. There are some modern schools now who are teaching all that. So it's changing. It's happening. But many parents are still against that. In fact, I remember a friend of mine who put their daughter into one of those progressive schools in Chennai, which is called The School, run by the Krishnamurti Foundation. So they didn't have these exams and they didn't have these, you must get high grade, low grade, all this. They had a different system of scoring. And when she was in 10th standard or 11th standard, I remember her mother asking me, they're good friends. Now, how will she get into college? How will she get and face a competitive exam? In 12th standard, will she get good marks? Enough for us to get her a college seat. These were her anxieties because she said this education system is not equipping her for that. But it equipped her to do VISCOM, visual communication. She got into advertising. She was working. She was able to handle life.
And school teaches that, no? Like if you don't pass, then you
Yeah, you
are.
don't pass, you're not good enough, you're this. So that all that didn't come into her head at all. So one must understand that teachers, I tell them that they're leaders. They have a great responsibility because they are shaping the second growth spurt of the brain, which is from 12 to 21. They are the main force which is working on that brain at that time in the school.
Very true.
So, like midlife molding, that molding has to happen in adolescence. And that determines what you are in midlife. Now, I do talks in schools to school teachers on the adolescent brain, how to understand it. I also do lectures in schools for primary school teachers, saying from conception to 5 years, that's the first growth spurt. What you put into that program, into that brain, will be in the subconscious in the adulthood. That is why the Montessori method works so well because it gives the child that sense of freedom. That is not a restrictive way of learning. It's an open way of learning.
I think I should do another podcast separately just on adolescence because I have so many questions related to rising ADHD and rising autism and all this in children. And I think you have a lot of insight on that. So I would like to do another separate podcast on that. What do you think is the biggest issue that for anybody above 40 till 70 should change? Like that you have seen is the biggest concern?
There are so many. So the biggest concern I would say is a rigid mindset.
And they need to open up and only then.
As long as you have a rigid mindset, a fixed mindset, everything like a pouring water on a duck's back, everything will fall off.
I feel the problem is if we try to tell them anything, then they would somehow change it, change the, narration to their.
That is why I'm promoting this concept of lotus consciousness. It's easy to understand.
Mm.
And it's not easy to do. I agree. Changing yourself is not at all an easy thing. But it tells you why you need to do it so that you find the how to do it. And we are giving you the how to do it. So if you realize the why you need to do it, you find your purpose in a way.
Very
And
true.
once you find your purpose, you pursue it. And if you learn to pursue it with passion and understand that reaching the mountain of success is not the be all end all, I have to move initially from mountain of success to mountain of significance, which is a much bigger mountain.
Very true. So, what can a 20-year-old, a 20 to 40 age person do right now, other than the things that you have suggested, which is
No,
sleeping?
self-care first. First and foremost, self-care.
Mm.
See, no knight in shining armor is going to come and rescue you. You have to take 100% responsibility that everything in your life is happening because you are making it happen. So, with regard to your health, make sure that you follow the good health habits. Do some physical activity, have some quiet time. Try to motivate yourself by reading, watching, listening something. Then eat healthy. Eating healthy, once in a way you want to have enjoy junk food, it's okay. Once in a way. But don't make it a habit. Because you know that everybody knows everything. But to implement it is the problem. Understand that at that age, your brain is like a sponge. So learn, be curious, never lose your sense of wonder. What I do this sometimes, at this age also, seniors also should never lose their sense of wonder. So I have a ground behind near my balcony, and there's a tree which comes like that. So sometimes I will look at three leaves for a long time and say, oh my God, what a beautiful thing God has created. Just in one leaf, there is so much, and He's given us so much of creation. So automatically our vibrational frequency goes up. The other thing I tend to do is cloud gazing, night sky. Who can say they can't do it? Sky is everywhere. So you have to find things to give you joy. So get that mindset. And if you start doing it from the age of 20, you become stress fit. And focus on your learning. Yes, getting degrees. See, I'm very, very highly qualified. I'm an MBBS, MD, DM, PhD, MCH neurosurgery, which is almost 17 years of my life acquiring the degree. But acquiring the degree was not as important because for us, you can work and study at the same time. So the experience of working and learning, I didn't fail it in any exam, but maybe if I'd failed, I wouldn't have cared. It was the training which was more relevant and important. I learned how to do a job better. So at that age, that's how you must be. And like my dad used to say, remember everything that you do has got your signature on it. So people will say, Prithika did that. Make sure that what is done is wonderful. And I have my own definition of personal excellence, which is personal responsibility, personal integrity, and personal accountability. You have these three from the age of 20, automatically you will have personal excellence in everything you do. Because you take it up and say, it's on me. I have to do it. Integrity makes you no cheating yourself or other people. Do it with the full authenticity. And accountability. Whether this becomes right or wrong, I'm accountable. Automatically excellence is what will emerge. So that is my take for 20 to 40 year olds.
So beautiful. And this has been a very inspiring episode. And thank you so much for giving your time for this. I know so many people are going to take so many different kinds of golden nuggets from just one episode here. And on behalf of all of these viewers and from me, thank you so much for making this happen. I've been waiting for almost a year now for this. So thank you so much for coming, Prithika ma'am. It's such an honor to have you in my podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for giving me this lovely opportunity to share my thoughts. And like I said, I feel I'm a contributor and I should make a difference to every life I touch. So through your podcast, we're going to touch many lives. Even if one life changes because of listening to the podcast, I will feel that I have done a big favor to somebody. I have done my job for what God put me on earth for.
Thank you so
Okay.
much for saying that.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for
Thank you.
coming.